Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to dig into Reddit's first quarter earnings for 2025 and how the market reacted.
That's right. We'll be looking at the key financial numbers, revenue, profit, things like that.
And also user growth, what the company's saying about the future and, what analysts think.
It's quite a bit to cover.
Definitely. And hey, if you find this valuable as we go, please do like and subscribe. It really helps us out.
Okay, so diving right in. Reddit's Q1 revenue came in at $392.4 million.
Which was notably above what analysts were expecting, right? The estimates were more around $370 million, give or take.
Exactly. And it's a big jump, like 61% higher than the same quarter last year, which was $243 million.
Yeah.
That acceleration is interesting.
It really is. And maybe the bigger story this quarter was profitability. They actually made money.
A net income of $26.2 million, or 13 cents a share.
Which is a massive swing from Q1 2024. They lost, over $500 million then?
$575 million, yes. But you have to remember, those huge IPO costs hit that quarter hard. $8.19 per share loss.
Right. So this 13 cents per share profit, it also beat the street's expectations. People were thinking maybe 2 cents, perhaps up to 10 cents on the high end.
Correct. So a solid beat on both the top and bottom lines.
And what drove that revenue? Mostly advertising, I assume.
Yeah, advertising revenue was $358.6 million, also up 61% year over year. So ad growth is perfectly tracking overall revenue growth.
Shows they're getting better at monetizing those users.
Definitely seems that way.
Yeah.
And adjusted EBITDA was solid, too, $115 million. That's a 29% margin.
And I saw the gross margin ticked up as well.
It did, yeah, 90.5%. That's up 190 basis points from last year, shows some efficiency gains.
Okay, good signs there. What about cash generation?
Very strong. Operating cash flow was $127.6 million. That's like 33% of revenue.
Wow.
And free cash flow is right behind it, $126.6 million or 32% of revenue. So yeah, the business is throwing off cash.
That's healthy. And internationally, I heard that was a bright spot.
Huge bright spot. International revenue grew 82% year over year, hit $78.5 million.
82%. That's much faster than the U.S. growth, isn't it?
It is. U.S. revenue was up 57%, which is still great, reaching $313.9 million. But yeah, that international pace, 82%, that's the fastest they've seen in 3 years.
Makes you wonder which markets are really clicking for them.
It does. And supporting that, the number of active advertisers grew by over 50% compared to last year. So more businesses are jumping on board.
And they finished the quarter with a decent cash pile.
Oh, yeah. $1.95 billion in cash and marketable securities. That actually grew by over $110 million just from the previous quarter.
Okay, so the financials look pretty robust. Let's shift to the users. How's engagement looking?
Also strong. Daily active users, the quarterly measure DAUQ, hit 108.1 million. That's up 31% year over year.
And slightly ahead of estimates, too, I think.
Just slightly, yeah. Estimates were around 107.3 million. Weekly active users also climbed 31%, reaching 401 million.
So a lot of people using Reddit regularly. The CEO, Steve Huffman, made a point about that, didn't he?
He did. He mentioned over 400 million people visit each week, for his words. Real opinions from real people, highlighting that community aspect.
And breaking down those daily users, logged in versus logged out.
Right. So global logged in DAUQ grew 23% to 48.7 million. But the logged out DAUQ jumped even more, up 38% to 59.4 million.
Interesting that logged out growth is faster, maybe easier initial engagement.
Could be something to watch in terms of converting them. And also they mentioned Reddit Answers, this sort of AI chat thing.
Yeah.
It's apparently got 1 million weekly active unique users already. So some early traction there.
Okay. So strong performance in Q1. What are they forecasting for Q2?
They're guiding for revenue between $410 million and $430 million.
Which again seems to be above what Wall Street was penciling in, around $396 million.
Correct. Signaling continued confidence. And for adjusted EBITDA, they expect between $110 million and $130 million for Q2.
So management sounds pretty positive. Did they comment on the broader economic picture?
Yeah. Huffman acknowledged the macro environment is always shifting, creates challenges and opportunities, but he feels Reddit's well-positioned.
And the COO, Jen Wong.
She also mentioned the uncertainty, but said it's mostly business as usual. Focus seems to be on using Reddit's data to help advertisers navigate, consumer trends.
Makes sense. Huffman also mentioned something about search traffic, right? Potential headwinds.
He did. He talked about potential bumps in traffic coming from search engines because of how things are changing there, like with AI models impacting search results.
But he said it doesn't change their long-term plan.
Exactly. Emphasized it doesn't affect the long-term strategy,
Hmm.
suggests they're maybe focusing more on direct traffic and engagement within the platform itself.
Got it. Okay, so how did the market take all this news, the stock reaction?
Initially, very positive. The stock jumped by as much as 19% in after-hours trading right after the report came out.
Oh, quite a pop.
Yeah, clear investor approval right off the bat. Now, it did pull back a bit later, maybe settled around a 5% gain after the execs talked more about the economy and those search challenges. Some reports even mentioned an 18% jump initially, so slightly different takes on the immediate move.
But still, a positive reaction overall, though it's important to remember where the stock has been, isn't it?
Absolutely. Despite that jump, RDDT is still way down from its peak back in February, like almost 50% off that $225 high.
And price targets.
The average target for the next 12 months is $156.50. Compared to the closing price around $116.57, that suggests some potential upside.
But there's a range, I imagine.
Oh yeah, wide one. From a low target of $75 to a high of $235. So definitely differing opinions on valuation.
Any specific analyst comments that stood out?
Well, Guggenheim kept their buy rating, but trimmed their price target slightly, from $170 down to $165. They liked the results and outlook, but factored in maybe higher investments later in the year.
Okay, seems reasonable.
And Oppenheimer, they really emphasized Reddit's unique user base, highly engaged, providing specific interest signals. They see that as a big plus for ad targeting.
Makes sense. That community aspect is their differentiator.
Right. Oppenheimer also pointed out Reddit is the sixth most searched term on Google. Huge visibility.
Okay, so lots of positives, but are there still challenges or things to keep an eye on?
Definitely. I mean, the macro uncertainty is still out there. That could always impact ad spending across the board.
Sure.
And that variability in traffic from search engines, like Huffman mentioned, that's still a factor. They need to manage that.
And platform integrity. Bots, fake accounts.
That's an ongoing battle, yes. Improving account creation is key. Also, new ad formats like dynamic product ads, they're still early days. We need to see how well those scale and perform.
And finally, that international piece. Growing fast, but still a smaller slice of the pie.
Exactly. International revenue is booming, up 82%, but it's still only about 20% of total revenue. Yet over half their users are outside the US. So there's a big opportunity there, but also maybe a challenge to fully monetize that global audience at the same rate as the US.
Right. Lots to potentially unlock there.
For sure.
Okay, so wrapping things up from this deep dive, it seems Reddit had a really strong first quarter. Revenue growth accelerated, they swung back to profitability, user numbers are up.
Yeah, the key metrics looked pretty good. The market reacted positively, at least initially, and analysts seemed generally constructive, though cautious.
But there are still those ongoing considerations, the economy, search traffic changes, and really capitalizing on that international user base.
Absolutely. How Reddit balances its unique community focus with continued financial growth, especially in this changing digital world, that's going to be the key thing to watch going forward, I think.
Couldn't agree more. Well, that brings us to the end of this analysis. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And if you found this discussion insightful, please do remember to like this and subscribe for more deep dives like this one. We'll see you next time.